One Kickout. I'm your host, Festus Davis, and this is my little show all about wrestling. I'll be doing top 10 lists, answering questions from you guys, doing pay-per-view previews and prediction shows. So, I thought with this premiere episode, I'd give you a little look-see into my thoughts on my top 10 favorite wrestlers.
Number 10, Ronnie Garvin.
The man with the hands of stone. His apropos nickname in WWE was Rugged Ronnie Garvin. But if you only know him from his WWE days, you're missing out. Sure, he only had a cup of coffee with the NWA World title, but he also had a very memorable heel turn at the Great American Bash in 1988 that no one saw coming. When I was a kid, I just loved how this man would just go out, punch a guy in the face, very straightforward, no flash, just all substance. And I loved him for that.
Number 9, Mick Foley.
I first saw Mick Foley back in his world class days. I grew up in Oklahoma and we used to get world class championship wrestling on Saturdays. And I first saw this gentleman by the name of Cactus Jack Manson. Incredible mic skills and an incredible worker. And if all you think of when you think of Mick is the amount of punishment he would take and dish out, you need to really watch all of his works. You see that amateur background that he had from high school, and you really see a man who truly loves the sport and art of professional wrestling. I just love this man. I actually got to meet him one time at a book signing in Vincennes, and although he had had a very busy 3 days, he was very personable and just a really good guy.
Number 8, Magnum TA.
As a kid, I loved watching Magnum TA. His look, the mic skills, the in-ring work, and that match against Tully Blanchard at Starrcade 85 for the US title, the I Quit match in a cage, is still one of my top 5 favorite matches of all time. His career was cut short by a car accident in 1986. He was still able to be around the business and did a fairly serviceable job as an announcer and backstage interviewer. But I do think if his career hadn't been cut short, he would have held the world title multiple times because he just was the prototypical 80s wrestler. He had the look, he had everything.
Number 7, Edge.
I enjoyed Edge from the first moment he stepped on the scene in WWE. I love the Brood. I love the music. I love the entrance coming up through the fire, the bloodbaths. The entire ethos was just so cool to me. And I enjoy wrestlers that can evolve through time. And Edge definitely did that. From those early days to the rated R superstar, up through his entire WWE run. I enjoy him and Christian's work together. He was just a phenomenal wrestler. Hands down one of the best workers, best mic skills. He just was the entire total package.
Number 6, Steve Dr. Death Williams.
As I've said before, I grew up in Oklahoma. That's where my love of wrestling began. That's where my love of wrestlers who come from the University of Oklahoma also began, with Dr. Death. I like Wahoo McDaniels. I like Jack Swagger, but I absolutely love Steve Williams. The Oklahoma Stampede, the rugged, bare-bones style that he brought to a ring. And I agree with most of you guys that the Brawl for All killed his career in WWE. He should have won it. He should have went on to have an amazing career in that company. But luckily for him, he dusted himself off. He went on to form a great tag team with Terry Bam and Gordy, and they ruled over in Japan, bringing that team over to ECW for a short stint. I loved everything about him, and he's just one of my favorite wrestlers from when I was very young.
Number 5, John Cena.
I know I'm going to get some heat for this one, but I absolutely love John Cena. I liked him when he first came in, the Ruthless Aggression period. I like the Doctor of Thugonomics period, and I like the Never Give Up John Cena. It's not until that build up to the first match against The Rock at WrestleMania that I realized how much I truly enjoy and am a fan of John Cena. He's given some of the best promos in the past few years. That one against The Miz and their build up, I don't get rattled. The one when he was on Heyman, whenever he said, I enjoy being John Cena. Eat, sleep, be John Cena, repeat. I just love him on the mic, and he is so good and underrated as far as his ring work goes. He's got amazing ring psychology, and you may think John Cena sucks, but I'm on the other side of that chant. I am screaming at the top of my lungs, let's go Cena.
Number 4, Tommy Dreamer.
Back in the mid 90s, I'd read all the rags and seen the internet news about ECW. And then, luckily, I was flipping the channels one night, and lo and behold, on Prime Sports there in Vincennes, Indiana, I see ECW. I only caught the last 20 minutes or so of that first episode. It was an infamous episode, the clip from Hostile City Showdown, where Beulah and Kimono Wanalea kissed, and Tommy took them in both of his arms. He'll take them both. He's hardcore. Got him kicked off of TV for a few weeks. And when I finally got to see it again, Tommy was one of my guys. He just, an amazing worker, amazing ring psychology. Who else would have said, hey, book this Raven feud to where I never win? No one else would have done that. He knew that the Raven character and his character, that is how that story should have been told. And he was right. I still have a very big bone to pick with the WWE because Tommy should have been the last ECW champion. Yeah, the rebranding, we all know how that went, how much it sucked. But Tommy has a career-ending match against Zack Ryder a mere 2 months before they take it off of TV. They should have kept him around, and he should have been the last ECW champion. He still is around this business. The House of Hardcore is an amazing promotion. If you haven't ever watched any of their stuff, go hunt it down. He is still an amazing worker, amazing on the mic, and has an amazing mind for this business.
Number 3, Macho Man Randy Savage.
As a kid, I was kind of an odd wrestling fan. I wasn't a big Hulk Hogan fan. I wasn't a big fan of the Ultimate Warrior, but I loved me some Macho Man. I knew you were supposed to boo the heels, but I didn't care. His promos were entertaining. His ring work was years ahead of its time. That match he had against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is, in my opinion, as well as many others, the best wrestling match ever. Period. Point blank. Ever. I was so excited to see him finally get in the Hall of Fame because it was way overdue. He was the best guy in the 80s in WWE. Not Hogan, not Warrior, Macho Man.
Number 2, Triple H.
To be honest, I really didn't pay attention to Hunter Hearst Helmsley when he first broke into the WWE. It wasn't until he formed Generation X with Shawn Michaels that I really started watching his work, and boy, was I impressed. His mic skills are phenomenal. His ring work is second to none. His work rate and his ring psychology. He has a true, genuine love for this business. And that's why I am looking forward to see what he does when he's really given full control of the company and to see the direction he's taking it. Because the direction he's taking NXT is amazing.
Number 1. Shawn Michaels.
If I was making a top 10 best wrestlers video, Shawn Michaels would be at the top of it as well. No one can talk as well as Shawn. No one can have the matches that Shawn has. He brings out the best in everyone. Anyone that's ever been in the ring with Shawn is better for it. And all of you who chant one more match at him every time he comes on WWE programming, I know you mean well, but I'd like you to be quiet because that last match against Undertaker was great. He left on his back with his head held high. Yeah, if he had one more match, it'd be great, but I like to see his legacy intact. And those are my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. Now, I'm going to answer a question from one of you guys out in my audience.
Terry Driver writes, if you were stuck on a deserted island and you could have only one pay-per-view to watch, what would it be and why?
I had to think about this one for a little bit, but I came to a decision. And if I could only watch one pay-per-view forever, it would be WrestleMania 10. The undercard is hit or miss. The hits, in my opinion, being the Randy Savage versus Crush Falls Count Anywhere match, and probably because I like the people involved, the Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna versus Doink and Dink match. And then you have the classics on that card, the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, the Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon ladder match for the Intercontinental title, which all other ladder matches are compared to, and then the main event with Yokozuna facing Bret Hart, with Bret redeeming himself for that crummy ending to WrestleMania 9. So, in my humble opinion, the best pay-per-view of all time, WrestleMania 10. And that's our show for this week. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Family One Kickout. Follow me on Twitter at Festus74. And tune in next week when I'll be bringing you my top 10 favorite managers of all time. Until then, just remember, when life gets you down, always kick out.